My wife has difficulty with intimacy, and wants me to start seeing other women. I don't want to, and I don't know how to talk to her about it. A few years ago, she was diagnosed with PCOS, which she's told me makes intimacy painful for her. I have a pretty high drive, but I was happy with the compromises we made and learned to be content with only being intimate once or twice a month. About 6 months ago she stopped it altogether and started encouraging me to handle my needs on my own, which was hurtful, but I didn't want her to be uncomfortable or in pain, so I accepted it. Last night out of the blue she told me she thinks that I should start trying to find a partner who can keep up, and I felt pretty blindsided. I love my wife and have never even considered being with someone else. She's the only person I've ever been with. I've tried to do whatever it takes to fulfill her physical and emotional needs, and I've been happy to make whatever sacrifices are needed to have a healthy and happy relationship with her. I'm not saying I'm perfect at all, so when she brought up the idea of me sleeping with someone else it kind of hurt. I know physical relations are important in a relationship, but I love her and I still feel like we can be happy together without that part of it. We still hug and kiss and all the other forms of affection that normal couples do, and that has been enough for me the vast majority of the time. I really don't know how to respond to her here, and I'm afraid that if I were to end up doing what she suggested that it would end our marriage. Can I get some advice? Relative comments. Commenter 1. Honestly, it's a very tricky situation to be in. She wouldn't give you any intimacy and you don't want it with anyone else. If you don't want to open the marriage, just convey that to her. Tell her you love her and that you can find a way to pleasure yourself, but it doesn't have to be through an open marriage. Be honest about your feelings. Commenter 2. About 10 years before she passed away, my wife had a complete hysterectomy that screwed her hormone system to the point where her already lower sex drive became non-existent. She told me due to the surgery. She wasn't a woman anymore, and the thought of sex made her physically sick. So as she put it, the Nookie Tran had left the station. We were married 20 years and had 2 kids, so what am I gonna do? I love her and that's that. A couple of months later, she came to me one time and said if I was to find a girlfriend and I didn't let her know about it and I promised not to leave her, she would understand. So I found myself with a non-expiring hall pass, and I must have thought about it for at least 20 seconds before I decided I couldn't do that to her. As hard as that must have been for her to say, she said it out of love for me. There's no way I could betray her like that. If you were to decide to do this, you would have to live with her and be with her every day, but you'd have to live with yourself too. I understand what you're going through and I couldn't do it. That choice is up to you and you alone. Ops response. You just perfectly expressed how I feel. I can deal with my own disappointment, but the thought of doing that to her, even with permission, terrifies me. I'm afraid it would break her heart and I don't know if I could forgive myself for doing that. Update. So, we both got off work early today and met up for lunch. I told my wife how much I love her and how I know it would hurt her if I did what she told me to do, and I couldn't do that to her. I took some of the advice of some of the commenters, thanks, and suggested we go to therapy and possibly get some more information on her medical issues to see if there's something we can do. That's when she confessed to me that she had gotten an update and had gotten a hysterotomy when I was on a business trip and hadn't told me. She also tried therapy because after the surgery she started to feel physically ill at the thought of anything sexual. Even with therapy she couldn't bring herself to have any form of physical intimacy with me, so she suggested I handle things on my own. She said she still loves me and still wants to be married and that she still loves me, but she knows that I have needs and she feels like this can be a good compromise. I honestly feel completely betrayed that my wife would hide a major health issue and surgery from me. I feel rejected by my best friend and the love of my life. I've moved into my home office for now and I'm trying to find a therapist for myself. I wish I had some better news. Follow for the latest gossip,